The guy is producing. Xavier Brown, I get it. He has a club on his hand. He's going to get there, but, he's penciled in to be a starter at the beginning of fall camp, going up against Ryan Williams, who I'm going to show the depth chart in, I don't know, second team, third team, whatever you want to call it. He's a playmaker. Jamarcus Shepard said, get your popcorn ready. That's popcorn worthy to me. I practice. Look at everybody on the sideline at the bottom right. Everybody's running up to him, pumped up, excited. So, look, he's producing. It's just not practice highlights. Like, he's literally producing. So that's from Twitter. It was running around. Everybody saw it. And everybody's certainly excited about it because, Ryan Williams already doing his thing. Jarvis, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Thank you very much for being here right here on Bama Football on YouTube. And thank you to everybody else inside the comment box. I appreciate you guys being here right here on Bama Football on YouTube. One more time, could I get a Roll Tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys can feel my energy. I try to put my energy into you, and I will take your calls today right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Call in line, top of the screen right there, 205-850-1994 is the call-in line, and I appreciate you guys rocking with me this morning. I want to talk about the offensive depth chart, and we have 86 people in already, so if we can get 88 thumbs up, and let me know where you're coming from, too, so I can give some shout-outs during the show. I always like to see where you guys are watching from, and that Ryan Williams Twitter, I'm telling you, man, that the dude is doing it, all right? I see Deer Hunter, I see Bama Man, Jarvis, DC 777, Max Tooney, Greg, Old Rock Guy, James Ross, Kevin, Brock. I got Dupree in here. Kevin, what's up, man? I appreciate you guys. And so far, I put up the poll that said, will Ryan Williams catch for over 400 yards? That's a lot. That's a big time. That's a lot of yards. And Todd's driving, man. Todd, put the phone on the thing and just, let it run through the YouTube, man. Keep focused, and we appreciate you, man. You're one of our faithful watchers. Charles is coming to us from Huntsville. Love Huntsville. And we got 88 up in here. Louisville, Texas. Williams coming in, and Javion on the road trucking, man. We got a lot of truck drivers that called in, always provide some good context. I'll open up the phone. The phone lines are open, but let me get to, start rolling on the show before I get going. I got Chris in New Jersey lined up in the one spot. Let's talk about this offensive depth chart, because I'm all about depth charts, and Coach Saban never wanted to talk about depth charts, which is fine. And look, this is a depth chart based off what's happening at practice. Things are changing. Things are fluid. There's been 6 practices. They're not practicing today. They're not practicing tomorrow, but they do have a scrimmage on Saturday, and then there is Fan Day, where you can watch a practice on Sunday. So if you're in the area, definitely come out and support the University of Alabama. And I think the autograph session is now available to Yay Alabama members. So if you want to become a Yay Alabama member, research that. And if you're a member of that, then you can get autographs on the field. All right, so let's look at the quarterback depth chart. Let's see how it's looking full screen. Make sure I got that lined up. And I didn't add any of the guys who are committed. These are literally just guys who are currently on the depth chart, okay? And look, say what you want about the depth chart. The show is for feedback, so go ahead and comment inside the comment box. You don't agree with something, that's fine. We can debate it. We can talk about it. We can dive into it. You can call in. We can talk about it. It's all good. All right, so you got Jalen Milroe as a first-team quarterback, duh. And then you got Ty Simpson, you got Austin Mack, and you got Dylan Lonergan right there, who just threw a touchdown pass to Ryan Williams. I think the biggest news right here to me is the fact that Austin Mack looks to be repping as a third-team quarterback. It's early. Coach Kalen DeBoer, what he said, he hasn't named like a 1, 2, 3, or 4. I mean, he's clearly named Jalen as a starter and Ty as number 2. He said that. He said that Ty Simpson has taken the number 2 reps, but he hasn't really determined like who is the 3 quarterback. Now, this is just the guy who's literally third in repetitions is Austin Mack. Like, that is fact. He's been doing a really good job. I think he understands the system. And Dylan Lonergan, there's nothing wrong with having a really good number 3 quarterback and a number 4 quarterback. Dylan Lonergan, he was, I don't know where he was on the depth chart last year, 4th or whatever. He didn't really get playing time, and it only takes 1 year. There's nothing wrong with having quality depth. Next year, think about the quarterback battle. Take Jalen Milroe off of this screen. You have Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, Dylan Lonergan, Keelan Russell, right? That's the quarterback room for next year. Let me ask you this, okay? As we go through each position on the offensive side, I want some feedback. Bipolar saying that Jalen's a third team. Stop. Okay, let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, talent-wise, with 10 being the highest, what would you give this quarterback room right now from what you've read, from what you've seen, the videos that you've watched, the other sites, the university, the stuff that I've uploaded here on YouTube channel, what you've read? What would you say that the overall talent in this room is on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest? Go ahead and sound off right now. And that's the quarterback room. Okay. 10, Chris from New Jersey. Deer Hunter saying 10. Solid 8. Jarvis is saying 10. Charles is saying 10. Milrow Heisman, that's from Chris from New Jersey. Carlos, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box saying that Dylan's going to leave after next season. Who knows, man? There's always transfers. Things like that happen. William is saying 8 without a doubt. Okay, so it looks like a 9. I'm not surprised to see the high praise for the quarterback room. How could you not? You have a Heisman hopeful in Jalen Milrow that's returning with all the weapons that he has, and you have an offensive playbook that I think is going to be really good and help Jalen Milrow maximize his potential, what he's worked on, and his overall just playmaking ability, right? I mean, Jalen Milrow's the guy. Anyone in college football would love to have Jalen Milrow as their quarterback. And I think Ty Simpson, probably the starting quarterback at a lot of different schools across the country. Takes one season. I think next year will be Ty Simpson's year. Okay, so that's a look at the quarterback room. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. If you could just take 1 second and hit the thumbs up. Hey, if you're listening on Spotify, if you could give us a review, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Think about it. I appreciate you guys watching. In case you missed it, these are the topics that we're hitting on today. Ryan Williams with the one-handed grab. We showed that clip from Twitter. We're talking about the offensive depth chart right now. I'm going to take your calls here in just a few minutes as I fly through this depth chart. We're going to talk about position battles that continue during fall camp. Alabama's off today, Thursday, and off tomorrow, Friday, before they hit a scrimmage on Saturday, and they have a scrimmage on Sunday. And, we'll talk about the depth that is certainly needed for this gauntlet of a schedule, and we'll take a look at the first 3 games of the season, which include Western Kentucky, South Florida, and a trip to Camp Randall to take on Wisconsin. All right, so let's go ahead and see what is Chris. We'll go ahead and bring you in, man, before we get to the running backs, and we'll take Chris from New Jersey. Chris, man, what's up, man? I hope you're off to an amazing Thursday. Welcome on into the show, man. What you gave this quarterback room a 10, man. Welcome on into the show.
Oh, well, I got Jalen Milrow winning the Heisman, so yeah. I will have tears in my eyes, but it's going to happen. And you know how I feel about Ryan Williams. You and I we sweated it out until he signed. So, very excited. So I'm gonna for one thing about Ryan Williams is you go back and look at 2017. Did Schmitty win the start on the first day of the season? The answer is no. But did he catch the last ball of the season in the national championship game? That would be a yes. So just remind everybody of that one. And two things I want to touch on today. And by the way, there's so many things I want to touch on. I'm like, I got to call Kyle more than like once a week. Just don't tell my wife, Kyle. Don't tell my wife. One is, did you see the best video? The best video. I mean, that Brian Williams video is great, but the best video out in camp so far, by far, Kyle, is 1 minute of Brailsford snapping the ball perfectly to Milrow. Did you see the video?
Yeah. So that was
somebody got.
It was
a minute of snap after snap after snap. Kyle, snap! Come on, baby.
So that video, if you want to watch that video, that's from Nick Kelly, who's the beat reporter now for AL.com. And I thought it was a brilliant move. And I was going to lead off today with my first topic. It said good snaps to Jalen Milrow. And it was literally going to be talking about that particular clip. And then I switched it to Ryan Williams. But if you want to watch it, go to, Twitter, X, whatever, and follow Nick Kelly. And he has a really good video of Parker Brailsford just snapping the football again and again to Jalen Milrow. Love to see it. I think, that certainly the crazy thing was, and Daryl from Huntsville brought up a really good point last year. I think when we talked Jalen Milrow, it was sacked 42 times, whatever. Some of that was certainly on him. But he was also put in a lot of bad positions because of bad snaps. And I had never seen, covering college football, so many bad snaps, and the coach has not make a change at the center position. So I know snapping the football, I think like even Matt Be Great, who's one of the best on YouTube, said it's not complicated to snap the football to the quarterback. And so that was refreshing to see. So good point on that, Chris. What else you got, man?
Well, if anybody sees that there's a Tim Keenan interview where they let him talk to the press, he says that Parker Brailsford is a dog. We all know he put on 20 pounds, and he said he's making him better. And remember, Tim Keenan faced without a doubt a season of the best centers in college football. So if he's calling Parker Brailsford a dog, he's a dog. And by the way, I want everybody to go, because I did this. Go look at all the starting centers in the NFL. Yeah. And there's plenty of them that are under 300 pounds or at 300 pounds or just slightly above. The centers in the NFL need to be like mobile and move all around. They're not like 360 pounds, 340. We were way too big. Kyle, we talked about that over and over again. And so one last thing I want to talk about, and I'm completely changing the subject. All right. Okay. Kyle, I said, you and I have spoken about this. I've said that I think the best NFL career of all the players from last year is going to be Kool-Aid. Has anybody seen the video of him defending? And it's unbelievable. He looks like an NFL veteran. He's knocking the ball. He comes up with the interception at the end of the video, and I guess it was from yesterday or the day before. So I want and I don't get me wrong, Kyle. The guy from Detroit, our guy. Why is my brain?
Terry Arnold. Terry Arnold. I got you.
Terry Arnold. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you, my friend. And I love him. I'm gonna. They're playing the Giants tonight. Yeah. And I can't wait. By the way, I'm a Giant fan. I can't wait to watch the guys from Alabama on Detroit. Don't tell any of my friends. So listen, I couldn't be more happy to call in. Listen, remember that we started out at the beginning of this year. I was calling out, freaking out about no Saban. Now, where the season started, we look. Everything looks so good, and I'm excited. And thank you for what you do. Think the channel is great. Run the thumbs up, undefeated, and we will talk soon, my friend. Roll Tide.
All right, Roll Tide. That's Chris coming to us from New Jersey. Actually, I disconnected myself. Give me 1 second to get the call-in line connected again. Yeah, so that's Chris from New Jersey. Give me 1 second as I connect the call-in line. I think I have to do this on air real quick. As Chris was saying, give me 1 second. You're gonna hear some feedback in the background as I connect. But as Chris was saying, I mean, it's such a great luxury to have a really good. Just let this run.
Caller ID authorized as a host. Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the call-in studio web interface.
I do all the editing myself. Like I came up with streaming and stuff like that and having a live show many years ago. So the technology is still robust, and I'm doing my best to always kind of navigate through it. So I appreciate you guys hanging with me as I continue to operate under this space, and I appreciate you guys. Kyle Henderson and Bama Football on YouTube, thank you very much for being here. 141 watching. If we could get 141 thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. The goal today would be 250 thumbs up. I think yesterday we had like 340 or whatever. The show has clearly picked up now that the football season is back in action. This is what I do for a livelihood, so I appreciate you guys supporting me and being here right on Bama Football on YouTube to talk about the topics as they happen. Always live when big news happens, and I have daily videos that you guys can definitely check out as they come up. Today we're talking about Ryan Williams, and I'm going to show the clip again for the people who are just checking in. So this is footage from Twitter. It's kind of like the Bigfoot footage. You can't really see, like it's not super clear, but let me set the stage for you. Ryan Williams is on the right. He's going against Xavier Brown. Xavier Brown with the club on his hand, freshman on freshman. Dylan Lonergan throws a nice fade route in the end zone, and Ryan Williams makes a one-handed catch that everybody was talking about. So this is yesterday. The play is going to reset. So you have Dylan Lonergan, who you're going to see at the quarterback position. He's going to step back one step. And Ryan Williams right there with the one-handed grab. Corner, great throw, honestly. I mean, that's a great throw. No one's going to get that. And he's able to beat Xavier Brown, who's, scheduled to be the first-team corner right now. Ryan Williams is going to make plays. Jamarcus Shepard said that. He said, get your popcorn ready. So that was one of the plays that we were talking about to lead off the show. We're also talking about the quarterback depth chart. We're talking about the entire offensive depth chart. I've talked about the defensive depth chart. We've spent, a couple days talking and going over that. And today we're talking about the offensive depth chart. And we talked about the quarterback. And here's a snapshot at the running back. I'm going to go through each of the positions. Someone asked inside the comment box where I'm originally from. I'm originally from Santa Fe, New Mexico. That is my hometown. Throughout the course of my career, I grew up in Santa Fe. I went to school in Iowa. Anybody know where Central College is? I think I said it, but does anybody know where Central College is? That's where I went to school. Then I moved back to Albuquerque, took a full-time job, lived in Los Angeles, lived in Redondo Beach, actually, and then I moved back to New Mexico, and then I moved to Washington, D.C., worked on Capitol Hill for a congressman, gave tours of the Capitol building, and moved back to New Mexico, and then got a full-time job, covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now this is what I do for a full-time living. So I kind of lived the lifetime. So that's where I'm from. Here's a running back depth chart. You got Jam Miller, you got Justice Haynes. I listed each of those guys as first-team guys. I mean, clearly they are each first-team guys. It's kind of 1A, 1B, whatever you want to call it. I mean, if you played the game, NCAA football, it's amazing. I don't even have Richard Young on here. That's my bad. I do all the graphics, so that's an omission. So Jam Miller, first team, Justice Haynes, first team, and then Richard Young, I don't know. You could even put him first team, second team, Daniel Hill and Kelvin Riley. So I'll come back and edit that graphic. So my bad on Richard Young. No, I'm not sleeping about him. I've hyped him up too many times myself. What I need right now is I need help from you guys with this wide receiver depth chart, okay? I was building it out, and I feel pretty good about it right now. But, hey, David, with a super chat, man. Thank you so much. $19.99. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Glenn. You should definitely check out New Mexico, man. The food's amazing. The sunsets can't go wrong. John, man, Dad's from Espanola. My uncle used to coach and teach at Espanola Valley. And as you know, the Sun Devils basketball arena, one of the best basketball arenas that you can get to. I mean, Espanola versus Los Alamos. So those are some amazing games. Okay, so here's the wide receiver depth chart. And again, I will update the running back depth chart. I do it all myself before the show, so my bad for some omissions that might be here. How do you guys feel about this depth chart right now? I think there's the amount of talent is it's so deep at wide receiver. And I didn't even list like Ryan Williams at an X or a Z. Kobe Prentice, he should be an H. Emmanuel Henderson, like I think each of those guys, like Ryan Williams and Emmanuel Henderson, they're so talented that you can put them anywhere on the field, right? You can put them at the X or you can put them at the Z, where I think like a Cole Adams is probably a guy that strictly has to be an H, right? And the H position is, Kobe Prentice, like a guy who's like a slot type receiver. It should say H under Kobe Prentice's name. But I mean, there's so many receivers. I didn't list like Caleb Odom. Jaron Hamilton as another guy. And then, who's really been making plays is like Rico Scott. Don't forget about Amari Jefferson's down the road whenever Jalen Hell gets healthy. But Kevin, I don't know, man. Like, I guess you could put Caleb Odom even like on a second team, on a third team. I just think there's so much talent. Like when I was building this out this morning, I didn't know where to put each of the guys because it's a versatile room with so much talent. Now, I think these first three on the left will be the guys who like get on the field, but I don't think Ryan Williams is too far away from literally playing. I mean, today's poll question is, how many yards will he catch for? And yesterday on the show as well, and I know we have some callers, and I'll get to them in just a second. 770, hang tight. I'll get to you in just a minute. We were talking about Emmanuel Henderson. It's like man, Emmanuel Henderson is a baller, right? Type H if you're excited for Emmanuel Henderson this season. H stands for Henderson. Type H inside the comment box. Emmanuel Henderson, he has it. We talked about him yesterday on the show briefly. He's like that hip injury. Coach Saban even said, right? He was like, because of his hip injury, like it shortchanged him. He was the guy who got shortchanged, and so was Devontae Smith. See how the H is rolling in? You guys understand what Emmanuel Henderson brings. Look. And this was a guy who made a position change from running back to wide receiver, right? Michael Henry, what's up, man? I see you inside the comment box. Waits in Real Estate, thank you so much for being here. Charles and Jay Lee, man, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here. See what I'm saying? And how about Cole Adams? They referred to him as Mr. Reliable. We never talk about Cole Adams. It's sad. But I mean, I'd have to build out like the entire receiving room, because I think that this is the deepest. I mean, you're always going to have many more receivers at that position, right? But as you can see, like, all these guys should be able to provide high value production. Kendrick Law, I mean, damn, like the guy looks so good right now. And I've been talking about Kendrick Law for a long time. If you've been watching my show for years, I've been talking about Kendrick Law. And this is it. This is the year, Kendrick. You were patient. You waited. You stayed in the lab. This is your time to feast. Jeremy Bernard, you're going to feast. You understand the playbook. You understand the concepts. Kobe Prentice, people don't even know how good you are. And Ryan Williams, he's the Hollywood guy. Emmanuel Henderson, his time's coming. Cole Adams, Mr. Reliable. Those guys, and you don't even have on the screen Rico Scott, Caleb Odom, who is one of my favorites. It's just like this is a loaded group. Look at this tight end group. And before we go to the tight ends, let me take this call. By the way, the call-in line number, I'll go back before I talk about the tight end room. The call-in line number is up at the top of the screen, so now is a good time to call in if you want. 205-850-1994. 770, you're up. Let's do it. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
I'm calling from Georgia. I'm the one who called in yesterday on the show.
Yeah, you got the dogs barking in the background, man. What's up? What's your name? I missed your name yesterday.
My name is Lucas. I'm from Georgia.
Lucas, what's up, man? Go ahead. What's on your mind, buddy?
Well, I was just on the Auburn side watching the show from Auburn, just kind of look what Auburn's doing. And I actually heard a couple of them two guys say, well, and I just heard one guy that, well, I talked to an Alabama fan, and he's worried about this recruiting cycle because these coaches is not communicating with these players. That's why Hugh Freeze is going in there and taking these in-state guys away from Bama. And so we got to do better. We got to.
Lucas on the call talking about in-state recruiting. I mentioned this, I think, on the show yesterday or the day before. I think out of the top 10 in-state prospects in Alabama, Auburn has 7, Bama has 2, and Ohio State has 1 in Naheem Oford. I don't know. I mean, Tom Loy was talking about Turbo Rogers on Flip Watch. So was Steve Whitfong. Those are guys who are heavily deep into, national recruiting. Look, I think the way to frame this, is right now Auburn certainly has the cash. Bama's not broke. And, they're excited about what could be, but what is Alabama and the brand. You heard Damani Jackson say that A doesn't change. You heard, Mo Lindquist talk about the Alabama brand and the A. Robert Gillespie talking about it as well. I mean, what Alabama is still able to do, and when Alabama starts winning, I think some of those guys who are, have flipped back and forth will have second thoughts. And it might be too late because Alabama will have filled those spots. I wish those guys, well in the decisions that they make because they're young guys. Patriot Life in with 5 fan fundership, so I appreciate you guys. But yeah, I think people outside are, they want to see in-state recruiting, but in-state recruiting is not done. I promise you. It's just like let the team start playing games. And as I said, when you don't win, you're not a cool school anymore. So just kind of let it play out. What else you got, Lucas?
Well, I get thinking about on this one player. He used to be with Alabama, and his name was Ben Davis. And he was an Alabama prospect, and he was a fast star, and everybody thought he's going to be like his father and all that. And guess what? And he was a bust. And then he transferred to Texas, and he got a little bit better, but he didn't do so well. So when I think about in-state guys, I'm thinking about Ben Davis, Ben Davis, because he was an in-state guy. So I'm kind of going back to that topic just right now with Ben Davis, because right now, if you have time, look up Ben Davis and watch from his recruitment into now. You will understand when I'm coming from.
Hey, Lucas, I'll answer you on the other line, man. Thanks for calling in again. Lucas calling in from Georgia. I appreciate you, man. You know, Lucas talking about Ben Davis. You know, I remember, look, no disrespect to Ben Davis. These are facts. I just didn't think Ben Davis had an amazing, career at Gordo or whatever, but he wasn't talented enough to play at this level here at the University of Alabama. People from Texas were excited. It didn't work out from there. You know, some players just don't pan out the way you think they're going to be. But in terms of like in-state guys, you know, you could turn the page and if I'm selling Alabama, right, and like in-state guys, think about the guys who are physically playing right now, right? Like you look at the in-state guys who are certainly getting reps. A lot of people forget that Deontay Lawson, you know, where he's from. Look at Ryan Williams. Look what's happening with him right now. Look at Kobe Prentice. Look at Emmanuel Henderson. Those guys out of Alabama are playing here at the University of Alabama. Coach Saban did an amazing job taking care of his own backyard. You know, sometimes you're not going to get the guys from your backyard, and I think that's not, I think it's still a point to emphasis. I just think that in this world of paying players, who knows what's going to happen. Before we take our 404, hang tight. Let me talk about this tight end room real quick as we continue to talk about the depth chart for the University of Alabama after 6 practices. So you got C.J. Dupree. I'm telling you, like C.J. Dupree, like get excited about C.J. Dupree. When you watch clips of C.J. Dupree, he's number 81. Super athletic. He's by far the most athletic tight end within this room. And there's different types of tight ends, right? You have kind of your playmaking tight ends. You have your H-backs like Robbie Oots. Robbie Oots is like come in like a goal line situation. He's 270 pounds. You have your bigger tight ends, Danny Lewis. I mean, he's probably up to 260 pounds as well. Josh Cuevas, I think, is probably more similar to C.J. Dupree. And then Jay Lindsey, who just got brought on board, he's 255 pounds. I think he'll probably be more, I don't know. I mean, he could probably be, Jay Lindsey's really good. With that said, I think C.J. Dupree and Jalen Milroe could be a really good connection this year. I mean, C.J. Dupree caught for, plenty of yards. And now that I kind of look back at when Amari Niblack left, I had high hopes for Amari Niblack. I had high hopes for Jaleel Billingsley. Those guys didn't pan out. I don't think that Alabama has had a really high, like, let me ask you this. Who's been Alabama's best tight end since O.J. Howard? Is it Irv Smith? And then who? Has any of those guys been dynamic? I'm going to say no. I mean, was it a guy who was dependable was Miller Forrestall, and a great person, but they really haven't had a dynamic tight end. I think C.J. Dupree probably be one of the better ones that they've had in the last couple of years. Now, Robbie Oots is a unique type tight end, and Danny Lewis, got to get some production out of him. This is it, Danny. Like, got to see him, start to make some plays. But C.J. Dupree, he'd probably be one of the sleeper tight ends in the country, to be honest. I think he's that good. People just don't know about him yet. Let's take this 404. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Today,
is this Isaiah from Georgia, right?
Yes, sir.
What's up, Isaiah? I appreciate you calling in, man. Yeah, go ahead, man. Come with it.
I appreciate you. I actually love our tight end room. I feel like that with all of our tight ends together, we have a very complete room. I'm also excited about Danny Lewis, but I wanted to touch on, I know it may sound crazy, but I actually feel even though that Nick Saban left, I feel like our coaching staff is actually stronger now because of our assistant coaches. How do you feel about that?
Look, the great thing about Coach Kalen DeBoer's staff is that we have an opportunity to hear from them. Being able to hear from the assistant coaches, I think, elevates the overall brand, and I think that sells the program on an even bigger national level. Now, Coach Saban's voice echoed through the country. I mean, he's on ESPN, right? Like his press conference is on ESPN. I would imagine Kalen DeBoer's is too, if it's not, whatever. But my point is the strategy of Coach Kalen DeBoer coming in to let these assistant coaches show themselves. These guys are going to go on anyways. You're going to see it's going to have the same thing is going to happen after the season. I would imagine Mo Lindquist leaves. After this season, I would imagine, more assistants leave. It's going to be the same thing because Alabama is going to be that good. But hearing these guys, you get a chance to really understand how intelligent these men are, where they are in their craft, their profession. And look, the defense has a lot of pressure. I'm not going to lie. Like Kevin Steele brought back Alabama's defense. And Nick Saban, like last year, the defense was back. After Pete Golding left, people were happy because the defense, it was back. So, this is a completely different defense. This is a 4-2-5 front. We've talked about the defense. We've showed the depth chart. And people are going to have a microscope on Kane Womack. A microscope. And they're going to be like, look, this 4-2-5 doesn't work, or it does, or whatever. I mean, he probably has more pressure on him than Coach Kalen DeBoer. Because Coach Saban was a coach built on defense. Now, everything about Alabama is now going to be on the offensive side of the ball because Coach Kalen DeBoer is an offensive-minded coach. That doesn't mean defense is going to take a step back. I just feel that people are going to have Kane Womack under a microscope. But, man, the way, like, he's so intelligent. How old is Kane Womack? Is he like 42 or something like that? Is he even 40? So these younger coaches,
he's 37.
See, that's what I'm saying. So, and we're not even talking about Colin Hitchler, right? Or how about Christian Robinson? So, brought in a young group, and then can you imagine having linebackers like Deontay Lawson, Jahad Campbell, Malachi Moore returns, Keon Tabb returns, Damani Jackson comes in. I mean, the defense is set up. You just got to, make sure these guys can execute against a first half of the season that includes some very experienced quarterbacks. What else you got, Isaiah?
I also we haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver in 3 seasons since Jameson left. Was him and Mechie were probably our last 1,000-yard receivers. But I feel like our offensive coordinators for the last few years have been very vanilla, and they expect the incoming guys to be on the levels of Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs and what we're used to. But the thing I love about Coach KD and studying his offense and things like that is he's going to make a lot of things way easier for Jalen Milroe because he uses a lot of pre-snap motion. So most of the time before the play even starts, Jalen Milroe will have a good idea if the defense is in man or zone. And I feel like Tommy Rees, he didn't really utilize that, or he didn't utilize route combinations to actually help the receivers get open because everybody is not at a level of development where they can just beat their man one-on-one straight out of high school, college players who are probably stronger than them, more experienced than them. So you have to use route combinations to actually help your guys get open, and I feel like we've been lacking that the last few years since we lost Mike Locksley. So how do you feel about that?
Mike Locksley, man, drove the Ferrari 250 miles an hour. Like he Coach Locksley, he got those keys and he remember how fast they were scoring? They were like being I've never seen this before. They were being criticized for scoring too fast because the defense was just like, shit, we have to go back out. I'll never forget like sitting up in Bryant Denny and they'd be like, that's a 2-play drive for 80 yards and lasted, 20 seconds. So
45 seconds.
Right, like Mike Locksley drove the car as fast as it could go. Last year, you bring up a really good point. The lack of motion, pre-snap motion, they never did it. And you know who did it was Michigan. Michigan used so much, and Michigan's offense kind of reminded me of what Kyle Shanahan does with the 49ers. They were moving guys, right, and which kept the defense off balance. I mean, if you look to that first sequence, or it might have been the second sequence in the Rose Bowl, man, they motioned everybody. And Alabama's defense, they did a good job. They beat Alabama's defense up to that point in time. I think that this will emulate a little bit of that, and you have so many weapons. My goodness, I mean, I can't imagine how excited Nick Sheridan is just to be able to utilize these type of weapons, specifically Kendrick Law. And of course, we know what Jeremy Bernard, is going to bring from what he did at Washington. Marcus, I would love to go down to St. Pete, man. I love St. Pete. You know me, man. I've been to the Don Cesar. before? Who's been to the Don Cesar? Who inside the comment box, has anybody been to the Don Cesar besides me in St. Pete's? Man, that place is nice. It was swanky. All right, Isaiah, hit on one more point, man, before I move on.
Okay. One last point that I would probably like to hit on is I really think that the defense will be way better than what people expect. Maybe the first 2 games we may have, little hiccups here and there, but I actually love our freshmen. I love how they're coming in competing. I love how they're being coached up. I love all of these things. And I just appreciate you for having me on the show, man. You have a great day.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right. Isaiah calling in. Appreciate the call from the 404. Thank you so much, and we'll catch up with you next time. Number to call in is 205-850-1994. It's at the top of your screen right there. Topics we're covering today on the morning segment. Henry in with the $2 super chat, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Christopher, man, what's up? Christopher, Bama's Kyle, Bama's offense on NCAA is going to make defenses cry once. Dude, it is so funny to be able to play NCAA football with Bama. Huh? I'm in my second season, my second dynasty. And it's crazy because I have Richard Young as my running back. I have my running back, the running back room even next year is stacked. And the receivers, Ryan Williams is crazy in his second year on this dynasty. Who else is playing the dynasty? Events we're talking about, Ryan Williams, the one-handed catch, showed that a couple times. Offensive depth chart, that's what we're talking about now. Position battles, we'll touch on that, and I'm taking your calls as well. 205-850-1994. My name is Kyle Henderson at Bama Football on YouTube. This is what I do for a living, and I appreciate you guys helping me to support myself right here on Bama Football on YouTube. This is my livelihood, so thank you very much. Talked about the quarterbacks, talked about the running backs, talked about the wide receivers, talked about the tight ends. Really like this group, of course. And then let's look at the offensive depth chart. Now, a couple days ago, I think it might have been last week, I started out showing the second team offensive line just because I think there was a little bit more to talk about considering Caden Proctor was still working with the second team. And the second team, let me think if I can say it off the top of my head. So the second team behind these guys, so behind Caden Proctor at left tackle, it looks like it's going to be Nyquil Bentrade or Miles McVay. And then the left guard on second team behind Tyler Booker is going to be Olas Alanen, right, who's from Finland. The center, it could either be Rock Montgomery or Gino Vandermark. Gino Vandermark is a transfer from Michigan State. The right guard could be Gino Vandermark. And in fact, when Jaden Roberts was graduating, the second team, Gino Vandermark was repping with the first team. So the right guard is probably going to be Gino Vandermark. And then at the right tackle, behind Wilcom Formby, and I think still battling for that right tackle position will probably be Elijah Pritchett, right? And then you probably see at the left tackle Nyquil Bentrade as well. So this is the first team offensive line for Alabama. And look, I know every single year, Christopher, I got the defense too. If you guys want to see the defense, I'll run through the defensive depth chart as well. Every year, like even last year, people were talking about Alabama's defense, offensive line is the biggest. They're bigger than NFL. That was clearly wrong. And as Chris said, Parker Brailsford being at 290, that's a good size for a center. I think I was even critical initially when I saw that he was under 300 pounds, but talk with people who know more about the offensive line, said it's not a big deal. And as Chris was also saying, snapping the football, much bigger deal, right? We know how that works out. By the way, does anybody know if is Seth McLaughlin, is he the starting center right now for Ohio State? That just came to me. Like, did he win that spot? Did he have to compete for that spot? I saw a small headline yesterday, Ohio State related, that Julian Sain said that he was caught off guard by Coach Saban retiring, and that had a lot to do with why he was leaving. But he also got the bag. No, Chris, what I was saying is Gino was over Jaden Roberts when Jaden Roberts was he was graduating. Like literally, the players graduated last week, and when Jaden Roberts was at his graduation ceremony, it was Gino Vandermark who stepped in his place at that point in time during practice. Max Tooney, so Seth is starting. I didn't know that. On NCAA, he's starting. Does he snap the ball correctly on NCAA football? All right. Let me run this real quick. This is this is a transfer report, okay? Let me set this up real quick. I'm going to do a cut on this. Kyle Henderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here today. I'm talking about the transfers in for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, I haven't listed all of the transfers on this particular graphic. There's a couple guys missing, but I wanted to go ahead and kind of just highlight a couple guys that have stood out that are transfers in during this transfer window, whether they were transfers from, following Coach Saban or after Coach Kalen DeBoer took over the Alabama Crimson Tide. So let's kind of go through one by one. Pictured right here is Austin Mack, but up at the top is Caden Proctor. Now, you're like, what? He's a transfer? Well, I listed him as a transfer because he did transfer to Iowa, right? And the crazy thing was Iowa slid into his DMs when he was struggling last year. And this is a slimy business. They slid in and were like, hey, man, we're still here. We're still proud of you, in-state guy. Caden Proctor after the season decides to transfer to Iowa. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. Somebody said he got paid by Iowa, and then he decided to come back to Alabama where he also got paid. I was never able to confirm that. I don't know if that happened. Ty, what's up, man? I appreciate you being here. Whatever the case is, Caden Proctor, the thing that I love about him is he publicly admitted that the grass isn't always greener, that he wants to finish what he started, and he's back at Alabama. And what was great about this is when he came here, he was with the second team, where he should be, right? You got to earn your spot. You're not just entitled to just come back and take your spot. So he came back, resets, and he's working with the second team behind Elijah Pritchett. And then he's elevated by Coach Kapilovic back to the first team. And we just talked about the offensive line. You can watch my video on that, talking about the offensive depth chart. But Caden Proctor now back at the left tackle position. And the biggest news about Caden Proctor was the fact that he plays now at 6'7", 369 pounds. I want to say this again. For all the people that are concerned that he has more weight than last year, it's muscle. There's a great graphic of him. He looks great. Doesn't have a big fat belly on him. He looks really. I think the added weight was muscle. Now, as you know, if you're lifting out there, you weigh more when you have more muscle on you. And the biggest thing about that is I think he just needed to be quicker. Look, the guys from Texas beat him. Tennessee. You look at their defensive line last year. You look at Michigan's defensive line. You got to be ready. Right? This is you're getting closer to the NFL. He's going to be an NFL guy, a first-round guy, and I think this year he'll have a really promising season. In fact, he was the SEC Offensive Lineman of the Week, I think, one time last year. I think he was against Tennessee. I have to look that up. Keon Sabb came here from Michigan. People were super excited about him right from the jump, and he's the first-team safety along with Malachi Moore in this 4-2-5 defense. Continue to hear really good things. When you watch the defensive footage that we upload, he is number 3. He's making plays. He's one of the team leaders early on, and just off to a really great start. I think he'll be really impactful, and I think each of these guys that we're talking about here will move on after the season to the NFL. Damani Jackson, okay, this is great. So he came in. Let's rewind. Remember during the Orange Bowl, I think it was AL.com who had some footage of Damani Jackson at the practice shaking hands with Coach Saban. I was there at the practice. I didn't see it. Good job that they saw it. And the clip went, viral. I think this is when he was in the transfer portal. Damani Jackson, former 5-star, announces that he's coming to Alabama. It was huge news. I remember doing a video before I was eating some sushi in Los Angeles. So he comes in, and then Coach Saban retires, kind of wondering what Damani Jackson's going to do. Said the A never changes. And this is probably where he should have started out. I think Damani Jackson, you think about USC, and a lot of people have been critical about him, about his game at USC. I don't think he's been properly developed. And I think Mo Lindquist can get him where he needs to be. You look to, Mo Lindquist, a lot of people forget that he worked, he did a lot of work with Trayvon Diggs, right? Coached Cowboys. So Damani Jackson, he's the first team corner, and I think opposite side of him will be Xavier Brown. If not Xavier Brown, maybe Jalen Mbakwe. If not him, then I guess Deshaun Jones, who's a transfer in from Wake Forest. Jeremy Bernard came in, caught for over did he catch 400 yards or was it like 500 all-purpose yards? Whatever the case is, he's been a shining target for Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe. Nick Sheridan has a lot of positive things to say about Jeremy Bernard. You know, we haven't seen, a lot of hype about him, but I think, just wait. Hey, Efron's been a fan funder now for 6 months right here on Bama Football on YouTube. We appreciate you. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Jeremy Bernard will catch for over 1,000 yards this year? I think that's an easy yes. Type yes, type Y inside the comment box if you think so. Jeremy Bernard, 1,000 yards this year for Alabama. And I think he returned kicks and punts, too, at Washington. Not to say that he will here at Alabama. In fact, I don't know who's going to return kicks or punts. I guess we'll find out Saturday in the scrimmage. Parker Brailsford, another transfer in from Washington. He'll be starting with the Alabama Crimson Tide. Now, he came in at 275 pounds, and now when the heights and weights were updated for this coming roster, you had Parker Brailsford listed now at 290 pounds. Looks really good. And by the way, as we were talking earlier on the show, Nick Kelly of the AL.com has some great footage of Parker Brailsford literally snapping the football to Jalen Milroe. It made Alabama fans go crazy, right? It was like the best video that people have seen from springtime. So good news on him. The crazy thing was, and I still don't understand why, and I don't think anyone cares, we didn't see Parker Brailsford during the springtime. Like, I literally saw him walking out of the practice facility, but that was it. Like, he didn't compete in any of the scrimmages. I don't know if it had to do with the transfer credit. I have no idea. Whatever the case is, he's been doing a really good job this spring, and he'll be the starter at the center position. How about this? Graham Nicholson. You go out and you get the Lou Groza Award winner after, losing Will Reichert. You got to admit, let me ask you this inside the comment box. Were you kind of stressing about the kicker position after Will Reichert left? I was. I was critical. I was like, how are you going to replace Will Reichert? You can't. And they did. I think if I had to rank the transfers, I'd probably rank Graham Nicholson number 1, Caden Proctor number 2. All right? Were you tripping? Were you stressing? I was. Now, Alabama will have a scrimmage this Saturday. We'll see how he does. Someone said, I think it was Lynn Shannyfield, who was inside the comment box yesterday, said that he was kicking 58-yard field goals at practice. All right? Talking about practice. King Mack, hearing good things about him. Right, came over from Penn State, working in that secondary, working in the second team. And then Austin Mack, I think this has really been probably one of the better storylines too, is him, looks like he's a third-team quarterback above Dylan Lonergan. Again, like I said at the beginning of the show, none of that has been official by Coach Kalen DeBoer, but he is like repping as a third quarterback. So you got Jalen, then Ty, then the third quarterback takes reps as Austin Mack. All right, not the only one who's came up with that. LT Overton, I think he'll get rotation this year for sure. Missed a small practice, being sick for a day, but he's looked really good. He's number 22 in, the footage that you've seen. Kyle Anderson, Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys. If you like videos like this, hit the thumbs up. And as news happens, we got you covered right here on Bama Football on YouTube, live every day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Let's see. Wanted to talk about, someone asked me to show, I talked about the freshman report yesterday. Do you guys want to see the defensive depth chart? The thumbs up if you want to see the defensive depth chart. I'll go ahead and we talked about this a couple days ago. The coaches poll, you got Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, Texas, Alabama. You saw the news that C.J. Baxter out of Texas will be missing this season. He's a very talented running back. He was maybe their starter or number 2 running back. He'll be missing the season with a knee injury, unfortunately. Here's the defensive depth chart. And again, this is all fluid, but I'll go ahead and show it for those of you who haven't seen it. Defensive tackle. So in this 4-2-5, so let me show you kind of the 4-2-5 first, so you can get kind of an idea of how things look in. It's kind of a graphic that'll show you where players are. So this is a 4-2-5. So up top you have the safety. Your corners on the opposite sides. Clearly you got the Husky. The Husky is a type of position. Think like Devontae Smith, somebody who can cover like a Kobe Prentice or like a Cole Adams. You got your inside linebackers. You got your Wolf. Your Wolf, think of the position like Dallas Turner or William Anderson, a really physical, athletic edge rusher. You got your Bandit. Your Bandit, that's where Keon Keeley is going to play, and I'll show you, the depth chart. A player who's not 300 pounds still can be athletic enough to get to the quarterback, and then you got your nose in your DT, okay? So now that we've said that, let's go back to the defensive tackle position, and we'll work our way back. So Tim Keenan, who looks phenomenal, you have him at DT, nose. You have Tim Smith, Jaheim Otis, James Smith. Man, James Smith. James Smith, like if I had a little circle, I would circle James Smith. I think he could have a breakout year this year. And of course, Tim Keenan's going to do his thing. I'm really watching Tim Smith and James Smith out of these groups. And Jaheim Otis now that he's back healthy, right? I'm talking like the depth. There's so much depth, right? And you're going to need all of these guys for this season. I promise you. A gauntlet of a year. Nobody understands the gauntlet of this season until we start going. Here's the Bandit. Guy who isn't like 300 pounds, but is still like athletic. You got Jamarian Latham, LT Overton, Keon Keeley. We talked about this yesterday. Keon Keeley put on, 35 pounds, now at 277. He would have been a Wolf, right? An edge rusher. They moved him to Bandit. He's going to have his hand in the ground. He'll play this year. And Coach Kane Womack had some good things to say about Jordan Renard, another player we don't really talk about, but he's a good one as well. The Wolf position, look how stacked this is. This is crazy. Any of these four, I would be happy starting at Wolf. Noah Carter, he's still got to get developed. But would you be mad if I was like, hey, Yanzi Pierre is a starter at Wolf? No. Would you be mad about Quay? No. Keanu? No. Q-Rob? No. That's what I'm saying. The depth is outstanding at the Wolf position. Here's the Bama defensive back depth chart. And again, there's many more defensive backs than 4, clearly. But put this together a couple days ago. This was before Xavier Brown got hurt. But I still think even when he's healthy, he'll be the starter. Damani Jackson, Xavier Brown. Right now, you probably have Jalen Mbakwe as that first-team starter at corner. Based off the fact that Xavier Brown has a club on his hand. It doesn't seem like it's going to be too big of a deal, though. And then Deshaun Jones, trying to see where he fits in and to see if he can beat one of these talented freshmen out. Remember, you got Zay Mincy in there, too, right? Hey, Bama, man, thank you so much, man. Yeah, we got 243. Just take a minute, hit the thumbs up. Super chats and, goes a tremendous way. This is what I do for a livelihood, so I appreciate you guys. I cook up all the graphics as well. So as I say, if I miss something or something's misspelled, I'll go back and fix it for the next show. So I am accountable for the graphics, and errors happen. I'm human. I take a high level of pride in my work, and I know you guys understand that. So I'll update things as we move forward. And I appreciate you guys, watching the graphics too to make sure everything's tightened up. Here's the Bama inside linebacker depth chart. This is crazy. So I put 3 guys as the first team, and I did this after Kane Womack said that he has 3 first team guys. Clearly they can only be 2, and I think it will be Deontay Lawson and Jahad Campbell. But Justin Jefferson, as you know, has had a really big breakout not only in spring, but he's doing an amazing job right now. Jeremiah Alexander, in-state guy, and then Justin Okoronkwo, Caden Jones. You could probably have, a couple other guys. And I think Jahill Hurley will be in there too at corner. I haven't heard too much about him, AJ, but that's another name to kind of throw into the mix as well. Look how stacked this inside linebacker room is. Crazy. Right? Hey, cool. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. Max, I see your comment as well. Thank you so much. The inside linebacker, A++. Wild. Okay, the Bama safety position. Look at this. Malachi Moore, Keon Sabb, Devontae Smith. That's that Husky position that I was talking about. Somebody who's quick on the defensive side. That's a tough position to play in this 4-2-5, in my opinion. King Mack from Penn State. He's at that safety position behind Keon Sabb and Malachi Moore. And then Red Morgan, who just got a lot of positive praise from Kane Womack. He's right there playing that Husky position, right? So that's kind of a look at the depth chart. We did the offense. That's kind of, I wanted to go Quebec City. What's up, Justin? I appreciate you being here, man. Thank you so much. I mean, I wanted to start with offense. I wasn't even planning to show defense, but since I have the graphics available, that's it. Here's Damani Jackson. Love the ink, too. Looks good. The art. This is Deshaun Jones, number 7. He's a defensive back that transferred from Wake Forest. Here's Keon Keeley, who looks magnificent at 277 pounds. And here's what we were headlining with today on the show, Fall Camp News. Alabama doesn't have practice today, but we'll have more content. And you might see this show on replay later on today, so if you want to come back and chat or whatever, that's cool. I appreciate it. But we started off talking about Ryan Williams and the one-handed catch. I'll show it one more time. For those of you, there's 246 people watching. Maybe somebody missed it. I'll set the stage. I've showed it a couple times. It's a cool clip to look at. The play will reset here. So you have Ryan Williams on the outside going against Sabian Brown. I guess this was a couple days ago because yesterday they were inside the indoor facility. But Ryan Williams goes up and makes a one-handed grab. The quarterback on this throw is Dylan Lonergan. As you can see, coaches, fired up, getting excited. You can see the headset right there. That's Nick Sheridan going over there to, give love to Ryan Williams. You said, get the popcorn ready, The guys out there making plays. It's just not, hearsay on, hyping up a freshman. The guys out there making one-handed catches. There it is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I'm live at 9 a.m. I cover news as it happens. So be sure and hit the notifications. I put every single thing I got into the show. So I really appreciate you guys being here and supporting the product, whether you're coming in from Quebec City, whether you're coming in from Huntsville, or right here in beautiful Tuscaloosa, Alabama. That's where I live. Lived here for 8 years and happy to do it. We're also on Spotify if you want to, check it out on podcast. And, of course, on Twitter, Facebook, TikTok as well. But everything is brought right back here to Bama Football on YouTube. I sincerely appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for supporting me on Bama Football on YouTube. I hope you guys enjoyed the morning segment, and I'll be back as news happens or, more video uploads right here on Bama Football on YouTube. From Tuscaloosa, Alabama, my name is Kyle Anderson at Bama Football on YouTube, wishing you a fantastic Thursday, August 8th, and I'll catch you soon right here on the next video on Bama